Hey guys, welcome back to CLOWNFISH TV. This is Kneon. I'm here with Geeky Sparkles.
Hello.
And we're going to talk about the Rise of Skywalker again.
This doesn't go away.
It's not going to go away. This is going to go on. This discussion is going to be had for months, possibly years. We saw how long the discussion went on about the Last Jedi. And there's going to be discussion both for and against this movie for the next 12, 24, 36 months, what this movie does to the Star Wars franchise, and all these media outlets have defended The Last Jedi.
Well, that's just it. They've all been up Rian Johnson's ass for 2 years now, so, you know, we can't admit we're wrong.
No, and that's what's happening already, and we saw it within days of The Rise of Skywalker coming out that everybody is rushing to defend The Last Jedi. They can't get over The Last Jedi. It's so funny. They were accusing fans who didn't like The Last Jedi of not being able to get over it. But the media, there's been nonstop articles.
What makes me mad is if you didn't like The Last Jedi, even if you had a good reason, in one article there was a well-written response, we'll get to it in a minute, about why they didn't like it. If you didn't like it for good reasons, because of pacing, because of the humor, because of, you know, these side quests that really were kind of pointless, whatever, it didn't matter what your reasoning was. If you didn't like The Last Jedi, it was because you were a misogynist, racist, you hate strong female characters, you're who knows? There was every issue you could think of. There was something wrong with you fundamentally as a person because you didn't like The Last Jedi. Now, we come to this, people don't like The Rise of Skywalker. And where are the people telling them that they're racist, they're sexist, they're whatever? No, it's okay because we need to thank Rian Johnson. You can't, there's you know what I'm saying? There's no equity here. It's like, not that I'm saying you should call people names, because I totally am against that, because that's what made me mad in the first place. But there is, shoes on the other foot now. Suck it. This is why.
This is, a lot of the people who are telling us that we're haters turn up in the comments, but the media is definitely throwing shade at J.J. Abrams. They're just completely baffled that The Last Jedi has been sort of reset by this movie.
What I'm saying is, where is it reversed? Why aren't they calling the fans of The Last Jedi, the ones that are mad about Rise of Skywalker, why aren't they calling them names in their articles?
Because they're all on the same team.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And where are the people on Twitter calling them all kinds of names for, like, in Rise of Skywalker? You know what I mean? They did this. This is what they did to the fans back at The Last Jedi, and these people don't like it now. But no one's giving them the shit they give everybody else.
No, it's because everybody's on the same team on Twitter.
I know this. It's rhetorical. I'm just pointing it out.
Yeah, well, yeah. This is a harsh lesson, and this is a harsh lesson that these media outlets have to learn about dollars and cents. And Disney, they made the decisions they made with Rise of Skywalker to basically undo the financial damage that The Last Jedi caused to mixed effect. It's not making anybody happy.
Which we said would happen.
Right, which these outlets don't seem to understand. Like Disney, I think is post-art Disney. Disney used to make art. They would tell stories. In this case, Disney's like, no, this is an IP. This is a franchise. It has to make money. Let's do what we have to do to try to win back as many old fans as possible. So really, in a roundabout way, I think these media outlets actually helped them make this decision to basically undo The Last Jedi.
Probably. Because
they called so much attention to it. They stirred up, they hit the beehive by getting the fans all worked up, which Disney paid attention to with the headlines. And here we are. So now we've got The Last Jedi completely undone for purely financial reasons. Purely financial reasons. So before we get into it anymore, please subscribe if you guys have not subscribed already. We're at about 85,000 subs, hoping for 100,000 soon. You guys have been awesome.
Yes.
And happy holidays to everybody watching. We appreciate it. And so we've got all kinds of media outlets already, the usual ones.
Yeah, it's the same people you expect.
And this is going to go on for days, weeks, months, years. Why it was a mistake to bring back J.J. Abrams for The Rise of Skywalker.
It wasn't a mistake to bring back J.J. Abrams. Well, I mean, it was no more a mistake to bring back J.J. Abrams than it was to give The Last Jedi to Rian Johnson. I mean, because the whole thing gets derailed with Rian Johnson.
Even if they had given it to Rian Johnson, the fact that nobody sat down and actually worked out a plan? A plan.
Like we've been saying for like years now, and everybody said we were full of crap.
Yep. And now everybody's starting to realize that Disney had no plan.
There was no plan. We've been saying this.
There was
We said that
no plan.
No, this is going to be a movie for no one. We've been saying that too.
Yep.
You know, oh look, it's true, but we don't know anything. We don't know what we're talking about at all. Go ahead.
So this article from Cinema Blend basically saying that it was a mistake to bring JJ back because he basically stepped over The Last Jedi.
As I would have.
Yeah, and continued his story from The Force Awakens, but he was not supposed to come back for the third installment.
No,
It was
he
supposed to
wasn't.
be Colin Trevorrow.
That was a desperation move.
It was, because they're like, we don't think Trevorrow... I'm thinking what happened was they probably didn't think Trevorrow had what it took to wrap it up. And, you know, J.J. Abrams, again, dollars and cents.
Mm-hmm.
Force Awakens made a bunch of money, so they probably figured we need a safer bet. Let's bring Abrams back.
Well, let's be honest here, though. I mean, Abrams didn't do that great Force Awakens either, in the fact that it was A New Hope all over again. He brought Rey and made Rey. He's the one that initially made Rey and Mary Sue. I mean, he's the one who set Rey up for what she became.
Yeah.
And he had the opportunity to put the whole cast together from the originals, which what people wanted, why they all came, and he failed. He didn't do it and then killed Han. So as far as I'm concerned, he's just as much to blame for a lot of the crap. Well, not as much to blame, but still blame worthy for the sequel trilogy.
Yeah, he set the dominoes up in Rian Johnson. Didn't just knock the dominoes over. He came in and kicked the dominoes all over the damn floor. Now they're trying to set it back up, and it's not.
See, JJ, I think, ultimately is one who made her Mary Sue. More so than Rian Johnson did. I mean, Rian Johnson made her nobody or anything else, which, you know, could be argued that's not as Mary Sue as what Abrams did. I'm not defending Rian Johnson. I'm just saying, you know, her Mary Sueism, you can blame on J.J. Abrams.
Mary Sueism. So here's their take on it from Cinema Blend. And we'll talk a little bit about that. We'll talk about some other outlets that, as if by magic, they all start writing pro Rian Johnson articles all of a sudden. So while it's easy to comprehend the logic that Lucasfilm employed in hiring J.J. Abrams to make The Rise of Skywalker, yeah, it was a safe bet financially. Well, they thought. That option should have been taken off the table as soon as he made the call not to come back for Episode 8. The most significant issue is the new blockbuster possesses is that it proves Abrams was too attached to his personal conclusions for the mystery box he established in The Force Awakens.
But then you could argue that Rian Johnson was too attached to subverting the fandom that he made a shitty movie too.
Rian Johnson opened the lid to J.J. Abrams' mystery box, and he pinched a loaf inside of it.
Right.
That's what he did. So his attempts to steer the project toward those conclusions, particularly after the multiple game changers in The Last Jedi.
Game changers.
Game changers.
It was boring and nothing changed.
Proved to be an act of self-sabotage that ultimately sank the whole thing and destroyed any kind of synchronicity in the entire sequel trilogy.
Rian Johnson's movie is what killed the sequel trilogy. I mean, I didn't like Force Awakens that much either, but that was a good setup. I was excited for the Last Jedi. The Last Jedi killed everything. It killed the momentum.
Yeah.
It basically was a movie that ended basically where it started. Except they killed Luke. They did answer questions, just answered them in a shitty way. And honestly, where else could Rian Johnson have taken it afterwards?
Well, that's just it, because Rian Johnson knew it was one and done, so he tied off everything. And the thing is, the blame needs to be laid at the feet of Kathleen Kennedy.
Which I've been saying.
Because she should have looked at this and said, well, wait a second, what are we going to do for the last movie since you've killed everybody off?
Yeah, you got rid of all the old Republic people.
Yeah.
Or like Akbar and all that. You killed Luke. You answered her question, but made her nobody. Killed Snoke.
Yeah.
I mean, you have no bad guy. Luke's gone. It's a Skywalker trilogy. Skywalker saga. Luke's gone. Rey's nobody. Where the hell were you? And at the end, everybody's back exactly where they were, except for Luke being dead.
Pretty much. Like, it felt like The Last Jedi felt like a side story. It felt like this was a book.
There were side stories within the side stories in The Last Jedi.
It was fetch quests and side stories. So basically, their take here at Cinema Blend, or at least this author's take, is that J.J. Abrams, since he ditched, he shouldn't be allowed to come back and undo Rian Johnson's work, because it was no longer his to undo because he quit. He quit on Star Wars.
Wait, so he's allowed to shit all over it because he quit. But I love this next one. Say what you will about movies made by Rian Johnson and Star Wars The Last Jedi, but the reality is that he honored the prompt that is Star Wars The Force Awakens. Sure, he takes the setups and utilizes them unexpected and surprising ways. He flippin' messed it all up.
He shit in the mystery box.
I'm sorry. sorry. No matter how you keep, before it was, if you don't like it, there's something fundamentally wrong with you. You're a bad person. When that didn't work, now it's become you just don't understand fine cinema and all the things he did, and those who get it are somehow elevated above you because you don't understand that his subversion was the true spirit of Star Wars. It's like, no, it literally is the only movie that doesn't fit.
It doesn't fit. And again, that comes down to poor playing. Like, they could have given, well, he's basically like, look, why would Rian Johnson, a creative filmmaker, smart guy, sign on to make a movie if he was just executing someone else's vision? If Abrams wanted to see things play out.
Whoa. If he was just executing someone else's vision? Well, when you come on as a director for something that is an established IP, I'm sorry, but that's what goes with it. You don't get to just throw it all up and make it all up as you go. It has to fit the vision and the IP. You want to do your own damn thing? You go make your own damn movies. Problem solved.
Well, and again, that comes down to poor playing, but they're basically like, J.J. Abrams left, so, he should have picked up where Rian Johnson left off. Instead, he rolled back and undid.
There's nothing to pick up. He literally undid everything.
Yeah,
there's nothing.
He didn't even knock the dominoes over the way they should have been. He came into the room, saw it all set up, and then just kicked the shit out of it.
I'm subverting your expectations. I'm kicking them over here, and I'm kicking them over there, and all the main plot points, I just completely undid.
The result is a film that feels like fan fiction that doesn't all fit into the flow created by Star Wars The Force Awakens and Star Wars The Last Jedi.
Last Jedi is the one who doesn't fit and feels like fan fiction.
The whole sequel trilogy
I'd agree with you.
Is fan fiction. We didn't need a sequel trilogy. The only reason a sequel trilogy exists is because Disney Disney wanted to recoup its money.
And the money.
The sooner you guys learn this is literally all Disney cares about right now is making money. The better off you'll be, because then you'll understand the decisions that they make. And the reason they buried The Last Jedi the way that they did is because to them, The Last Jedi, red was a very appropriate color for them to focus on for The Last Jedi, because to Disney, that's all they saw was red and decreased sales.
And no matter how much the authors want to bitch and moan, you can track all of it back to where it fell off a cliff to The Last Jedi. I'm sorry. That's where you lost the general public. That's where you lost a lot of their Star Wars fans. Rian Johnson's going on the internet calling people names. The media is going on the internet calling people names. Of course, they're not calling people names now if they don't like, Rise of Skywalker, because that was their movie. That was what we white knighted for 2 years. We can't like it now.
Well, Twitter, of course. Twitter is defending Rian Johnson. The Last Jedi director thanks fans after thank you, Rian Johnson. Trends on Twitter.
Yeah, but he could get there'd be 5 likes to it, and he'd be like, thank you.
The release of The Rise of Skywalker has inevitably rekindled the controversy over The Last Jedi and the bold decisions.
It has never ended.
It never ended. And he kept rekindling it with Knives Out. He kept bringing up
brought it up. Rian Johnson can't stand it if people aren't talking about Rian Johnson.
And the bold decisions that Rian Johnson made with the film.
Bold decisions, like bullshit decisions.
Those who like Last Jedi feel even more validated after seeing The Rise of Skywalker return to fan service nostalgia. Fans who hated Last Jedi are happy to see that The Rise of Skywalker course corrects what Rian Johnson tried to do.
Ironically, I think there's more people who like the course correction than don't like the course correction.
So this is, of course, Twitter is completely up Rian Johnson's ass. As
Twitter.
You said. It's Twitter. Endlessly awed by your passion, creativity, anger, joy. No, you're not. Joy, positivity, excitement, engagement, and love. You continuously defy every cynical narrative.
He was the one spinning the cynical narratives on Twitter. He was the one that coined the man baby term that everybody was using. I love how he can go harass and he can spread hate speech and he can do whatever the hell he wants. But then if anybody stands up to him, they're bad. They're bad people, and haters.
However you feel about The Last Jedi, it's good to see Rian Johnson getting just as much love from fans as he does hate. If nothing else, a continued impassioned divide over The Last Jedi may be the best testament yet to Johnson having created a piece of cinematic art within a big budget studio franchise.
Okay, fine. Then what about the vast majority of people who did not like The Last Jedi, who had a shit fit about The Last Jedi because it didn't fit with the entire saga? What about it being a testament to how good the saga was and that it didn't need changed until Rian Johnson decided to change it? How come we don't hear about that? A saga has been around for decades that literally went off a cliff after Rian Johnson fucked it up. Sorry, Mom.
After all, art isn't universally loved, but great art stands the
So
test
this
of
is art,
time.
but everything else is not art.
That's right, because Rian Johnson made it. This is art, and this is, look, these outlets are they're gonna scream about the Rise of Skywalker for years, just like they claim the fandom did about.
I know everything they were bitched about, everything they were mad about, and they were accusing people who didn't like the Last Jedi. They are now doing themselves, but it's okay now because they just appreciate art. They're at a higher level than all you stupid people because they appreciate it.
They're at a higher level than all of you stupid people because they're journalists. And as one of the editors of one of the big comic book sites, I forget which one, I think it was Newsarama, made a point of stating on Twitter, almost all of the people working for them had bachelors in journalism. Some of them had masters. And because of that, their opinions are worth more. They have the platform. They have the voice. They have these blogs that were frankly built by somebody else.
Their numbers are going off a cliff.
Yeah.
And you know, and as a rebuttal, we frankly have a person who not only has the credentials in the media and news industry, he was an editor on multiple platforms, multiple newspapers, dailies, whatever before, and I have one degree and almost a second one, if that apparently matters. So
who are we talking about?
Me. I talk myself in both genders. To be fair.
What?
Yeah, it's like, you know, why are you being a butt? You know what I'm talking about.
All right. So, yeah, I don't talk about it too much, but whatever.
It's true. So we're not like just talking out our butt with no experience or anything to back it up.
No, I know exactly what's going on. And this is what we talked about
Google
before.
me, bitch.
I know exactly what's going on. What's going on is that these media outlets are salty that YouTubers are performing better than their blogs are now, because blogs are frankly dropping off a cliff. And a lot of the reason they are is that, you know, it's that sort of elitist attitude, I think,
it
these
is.
journalists have.
It's very elitist attitude. Disney's been very arrogant lately.
Yep.
This person in particular, what he does, he goes and stirs up the crap, Anthony here, and then he goes running to Twitter to whine on Twitter. And then if you complain, if you fight him back because he's complaining about you, he blocks you and then whines more about you.
It's quite the system they have here, though. These blogs and Twitter, I mean, they're like that. I'm doing a little finger cross thing. You can't see. They're like that because, you know, Twitter gives blue checks to people who write for these blogs, and they tend to promote, you know, these people, these voices because they're verified. And it's almost like we've got increasingly irrelevant social media and platforms like these pop culture blogs sort of clinging to each other for dear life in the face of YouTube, and they hate it. They hate YouTube. I actually,
yeah, this person in particular.
Yeah, and I've said before, I think that there could potentially be a group of, you know, journalists that are kind of out to get, you know, YouTubers.
So we go down here. I'm not going to read this article. I'm not even going to give them attention. But the comment here I wanted to point out. There's comments here, and this one comment I thought was really well done. It's weird. Personally, I found The Last Jedi my least favorite Star Wars movie, but not because of the story risk taken, but because of the uneven tone. The irreverent spaceball jokes, the weird Harry Potter side quest that didn't further the story. Let's go to Gringotts Casino and free rideable house elves. And the character plot holes. Poe gets to lead what's left of the Resistance after he selfish mutiny caused the majority of them to die. Yay!
Yeah, I'd be like, no.
We're so off-putting that the really amazing scenes, pretty much with Kylo and Rey, in the third act on Crate felt like it belonged in another film. Rian Johnson made a third of the best Star Wars film ever, but he also made 2/3 of the worst. At least Rise of Skywalker was tonally consistent. You know, and I thought that was pretty well, you know, done. But they said that.
Yeah, and that's it. Because, I mean, I have not watched The Last Jedi since it came out. Because I'm so angry by some of the decisions. But I will admit, there are individual scenes in that movie that I think are good. They're just in a shitty movie.
Right.
And it's the whole, and then when you realize the whole purpose of this movie was to turn Star Wars on its ear, and that's not really what people wanted.
No, you can't do that with an existing franchise. I don't understand why people like Rian Johnson can't understand this.
Yeah. So yeah, it's a really divisive movie, but that's what he wants. That's what Rian Johnson wants. But we're gonna see this. We're gonna see this because look, these outlets I think they made. I mean, this is this weird, like, parasitic relationship here. I think they hate YouTubers, but they also get a lot of traffic from...
Oh, they do. They make these articles on purpose because they're paid per click and they want the clicks to get paid.
Yeah, so what happens is YouTubers cover the more outrageous the article, the more likely it's going to get picked up.
I'm not
the
even
more,
giving him hits.
Okay, the more likely, here we'll talk about how little screen time Rostico got. The more likely it is that the YouTube audience will go to the website to check the article out, even if it's just to leave a salty comment, they'll do it. So as much as these journalists hate YouTubers now, they actually kind of need YouTubers to survive. Some of these people are spending an inordinate amount of time trying to write articles to defame YouTubers, etc. You know, and there's some weirdness going on here, but I think it just comes down to I think professional jealousy.
Yeah, but it turned out the YouTubers were right.
Yeah,
Spoilers were right. Reddit was right. Yep. The people they're bitching and moaning about were right. We said this is going to be a movie for no one. It's going to make everybody miserable. And that's what happened. And we have friends who went to see it, and they said, it's an okay movie. It's not the best. It's okay. It does what it sets out to do. It's leagues better than The Last Jedi.
Yeah.
That's what we keep hearing. Oh, but it's so much, at its worst, it's so much better than The Last Jedi. So, you know, and I'm talking to people, you know, who didn't even mind The Last Jedi so much. We've been saying that, too.
Yeah, but then there are some people that we know that were... and we do have friends. Believe it or not, we have friends that really enjoy The Last Jedi.
And that's fine.
And they were very, very salty that a lot of those decisions were walked back in this movie. So,
and it's like, you know, but at the heart of everything we started this channel for, it's because we got so tired of watching people, ourselves included, be labeled horrible, you know, belittling names because we didn't like a movie, we didn't like a comic, we didn't like a ride or something like that, and then because you didn't like it, there is no more you can just agree to disagree, or you can have different opinions, because you know that's how the real world works outside of Twitter. It was automatically, if you didn't agree with everything that this person or these people thought, you were man baby, racist, misogynist, you know, homophobic, whatever. Even if it had nothing to do with why you didn't like it, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And I'm so sick and tired of these immature, childish baby asshats going around acting like this. And then when the shoe's on the other foot, you know, no one's running to call them, you know, misogynists or racist or whatever.
Not allowed to, because they have the high ground. They're the journalists. With
now
yes.
They don't have that anymore. Now it's, just because we're fundamentally better than you as people. And it's like, no, you're not. You just have a need to be the you know, in the know, the best, the participation trophy mentality, and you don't like being told no. Well, welcome to 2020. The word of the year is going to be no.
There we go. Yeah, I think the pendulum swinging not too long ago. See, I'm old and I remember a lot of these news outlets, Comic Book Resources and Newsarama, etc. They were very fair. They were basically, it was news for fans by fans. And now you basically have a bunch of elitists that have taken over, you know, and a lot of them, I'm not going to call them fake fans, but they're not, most of them do not seem like they were, I guess, the fans that were in the trenches. They seem like they, you know, graduated from college, thought they were owed a journalism career.
You could just stop with thought they were owed something. Because a lot of the mentality behind the people that are acting like this are people that usually are ones who seem to think that they should just be given it because they want it, you know, and that's not the way the world works.
So they throw shade at the fans because the fans are calling them out. But, you know, look, these sites originally, before they got sold off to their corporate overlords, Comic Book Resources and Newsarama and etc., and the list goes on.
They used to be real journalists.
They were real journalists, or they were fans who covered it because they actually loved talking about their passion, their hobby. I don't think any of these sites were founded by, you know, somebody with a journalism degree, fancy journalism degree from wherever.
A lot of times they weren't, because people didn't want to go that route. They wanted something new, fresh, and different.
Right.
So they started their own thing, which is what happens a lot of times with YouTube and other blogs.
Yeah, and so then what happens is eventually you get the corporations involved, and you know, here we are. But you know, it's I think it's funny they're complaining about Rose Tico getting the Jar Jar Binks treatment. She literally did. I mean, look, the reason Jar Jar Binks was barely in episode 2 and 3 was because of the media backlash against him in episode 1. But yeah, I think we're gonna see a lot of these news outlets really ramp it up. Well,
they just don't like to troll too, because they want clicks.
Yeah,
they get,
and they're salty.
They're mad, but the more clicks they get, the more money they get.
Right, but look what's happening though. So many of these outlets are firing people. They're laying people off. They're closing up. I mean, IO9 used to be its own separate thing, and now it's basically just part of Gizmodo, which got sold off for next to nothing, you know, as part of the Gawker package, you know. And these blogs are, I think we're going to see a lot of these digital news outlets be shuttered.
If they're not shuttered, you're going to see a major shift in the way they report.
Well, yeah, you're going to have to stick to sports, right?
Yeah.
Because they want the advertisers.
They're going to close or they're going to shift.
Yeah.
Is what's going to happen coming up in the near future. And
these journalists know it. And so they're freaking out, and they're trying to do as much as they can do to, I guess, get their digs in against YouTubers. And, but yeah, this is just one of many, many things very indicative of what is going on right now. And
I'm sorry, I could think of this. Need to learn to code.
Well, these sites were started by people who learned to code. A lot of these websites were started by web developers, not by journalists, but by people who knew how to build a website when nobody else knew how to build a website. And you know, if a lot of these people, if they had to start their own website, they would not be able to do it.
Well, a lot of these people they want the platform, but they had to go out and build their own platform, find their own audience. And they want to throw shade. They keep throwing shade at like people like us. Like, well, all you do is read articles. Well, actually, we might read part of your article, but we talk about a lot of things besides your article. If you had to do your own thing, go find your own audience, build your own platform, find your sources for your own articles, which I think is funny because a lot of people who are complaining about us also would take an article from like, you know, a Variety or one of the other bigger things and turn it into 6 articles on their site.
It's like one interview.
Because they couldn't get the interview themselves.
Yeah.
You know, like that. And their little blue checks, they couldn't do it themselves if they wanted to. And that's what they're pissed about.
Yeah.
Because they thought, well, I got on this platform, and I got on the soapbox, now I'm going to sit there and tell you all my ideas and preach my agenda, and you're going to have to listen to what I say. And they're finding out that people don't have to listen to what you say. Same for us. People don't like our channel, they don't have to listen to what we have to say. And that is completely fine.
I tell people all the time, we get people in the comments that throw all kinds of shade at us. I'm like, there are millions, literally millions of YouTube channels out there. If you don't like ours,
that's fine.
You're more than welcome to go watch one of the other umpteen million channels out there, you know, and good luck. But don't waste your time or our time.
Right.
You know?
And like, you know, I keep saying, you're allowed to like The Last Jedi. That is completely fine. You're allowed to like The Rise of Skywalker. That is completely fine. You're allowed to not like those. That is completely fine. It's all a personal opinion. It doesn't make you more a fan. It doesn't make you less of a fan. You can like an artist and not like maybe a couple of their albums. I mean, it doesn't mean you don't like the artist anymore. This is how the real world works. And, you know, it's okay. And that's what people don't understand is it's not, you know, they can't take this idea that people aren't agreeing with them 100%.
Because they're used to having the platform, they're not used to having pushback. That's what changed in the last. That's what changed in the last year or two is these journalists that basically were able to tell people what to think and what to like started getting pushback.
Right. Well, they went too far. It became more about attacking people, telling people they were man babies. And literally, I mean, the She-Ra articles, they didn't even hide it. They flat out said if you didn't like the She-Ra designs, you were a misogynist. I mean, it was ridiculous. And people were just tired of it. You don't get to judge somebody based on whether they like The Last Jedi or not. The Last Jedi happened. No matter how you want to look at it, factually based, the numbers went off a cliff. The sales went off a cliff. It, you know, probably is what messed up the Galaxy's Edge. The general public didn't care for it. They're not getting them back for Rise of Skywalker like they thought they were. They're getting some of them back, but they're not getting them the way they thought they were. People are just tired of it. They're Mandalorians getting them back. It's just the way it is. And you know, just because you don't like the truth doesn't change the truth. And, you know, like I said, 2020, the word for these people is going to be no. And you're going to need to learn to get along with other people who differ from you.
I thought you were going to say learn to code.
Well, learn to code too. But there's this concept that existed for decades and decades and centuries that, you know, the people that have been raised in a certain generation don't seem to understand. It's just a concept of you can disagree, but that doesn't mean that you have to hate that person. There's something wrong with that person. I've never seen it so bad as it's been the last like 4 years, 5 years. It's ridiculous. And I think they'll need to just grow up.
Yeah. I think so. I think it's going to change. I think things are going to change in 2020, and I think a lot of these digital journalists are going to find themselves on the wrong side of things.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about the wrong side of history. I'm talking about the wrong side of the fandoms, the wrong side of the studios. We're already seeing Warner Brothers shut people down.
Well, the studios even need to learn too. People are allowed to have their opinions, and you're entitled to your opinion. That's okay. But other people are entitled to their opinions too.
They are. So we're going to wrap this one up. Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants. We'll talk to you guys later.
Bye.
Hey guys, thanks for watching Clownfish TV. Please consider supporting the channel. Go to clownfishsupport.com. That's clownfishsupport.com. And if you want to join our community, go to clownfishtalk.com. That's clownfishtalk.com. Please subscribe, ring the bell for notifications. We will talk to you next time.